I'm gonna try to briefly tell you about my perspective. Going to tell you another story from my life experience. I actually bought the first deck of tarot cards when I was 11. Yeah. I know. I was 11, and then I was drawn to that, and then I bought the cards, and then I started reading on my own. And funny enough, my classmates, even teachers at school, asked me to read to the cards for them. They asked their neighbors, so I started then to give tarot readings to people. But after a while, I actually quit because what happened was that a lot of people, on a superficial level, they just want to know, like, when am I meeting the guy? Am I getting married? Things like that. And for me, it's like, oh my God, you have your life to live, and it's your choice. You are given the will to make choices for yourself. So even as a child, I feel like, why are you keep asking me as a kid these questions all the time? Why don't you live your life? Why don't you try to do something? Why can't you do things for yourself? Because that's what makes a difference. Divination, cards, numerology, or any kind of divination, they're like a map, a guideline, even GPS. But then again, you don't always follow the GPS, do you? Well, there you go. So what happens is actually the result of your own action. It's not so much about what the cards say. So after a while, I got so fed up with that and I quit. But then I had on and off relationship with this, and then I would go back to it. When people started annoying me again, I'm like, let me have a break. I'm like, why don't you people get it? And I was a child. And yeah, and I'm also fiery. Yeah, I know. So I'm like, okay, give me a break. I don't want to do this. Give me a break. Go live your life. And later I realized that people actually ask you those questions because they're troubled. They need help. Even something nice, something small, the smallest thing that you can say that is nice to them, it will make their day. I'm not saying that you should lie if you get a really, worrying card and you should tell them something totally opposite. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that those people who come to you are people who need help. One way or another, they are seeking help. Maybe they need to talk. They don't know how to start. They need someone to listen to. Sometimes people who come to me for either for tarot or numerology, they come because they don't know how to bring the topic up. I look at the cards, I look at the numbers, and I tell them what I see. And then often I see this reaction that they're relieved that, yes, I see myself, I see my life. Okay, what do we do now? How do we go on? What will be the next step? And I feel like this is already a big help for people. That's why I decided, okay, I'll stick with this. I'll keep helping people in any way they would accept. If they accept healing, please be my guest. I love healing. There's nothing more I love than the healing. And food. But if they're not ready for a healing journey, therapeutic session with tarot numerology is already a big help. To see themselves, they get to reflect on their lives. Exactly. Exactly. Very often when my tarot or numerology clients come and then they get to reflect on themselves and their lives, they finally realize what they should be doing. That's all there is. So when I see the numbers or cards, I tell them the environment that can possibly happen or what they might need to work on, but then the rest is up to them. What do they want to do? That's my take on it. I mean, well, you see, if you want to go into the history, then you can have a whole lecture on how the tarot cards were actually developed, and the cards were developed during several centuries. Well, actually, it's still developing because now we also see oracle cards coming up other than the tarot and who knows what. Um, if you want to go into the history of it, then you can talk about like what we know, what we have evidence of, and then most people would talk about the first Sforzi deck in Italy that appeared in 1400s, and then how that developed, or how the Arabs or the Turks brought in their card games, and then later developed into these cards, and how esoteric symbols were incorporated into these cards over the centuries. It's a really long topic, but what I would like people to know, like on basic level, beginners and anyone who's interested in the topic, what I would like to say is that what do you see when you look at the cards? Pictures, symbols. So it is interesting that, you know, when we look at things around us, we see symbols all the time. If we can understand them, we can receive a lot of information. I mean, symbols are everywhere around us, whether we notice them or not. So astrologers look up to the sky, to the stars, planets. Numerologists look at numbers, and numbers are everywhere around us, from our phone number, dates, address. With the tarot, you have the symbols and the pictures on pieces of paper. You have a set of symbols. You have a set of, let's say, tools for self-awareness, because for a lot of tarot readers, this is also a journey of a soul. So each card, especially in the major arcana, represents certain phases of your life, or the journey or the lesson that you go through. And it's not like, if you get this card, then this is going to happen definitely. It depends on how you interpret the card too. There are people who interpret it literally, oh, this is the card, it says this and this should happen. When for me, it's more symbolical. For example, people who know nothing about tarot would think that a death card has to do with death, when it has nothing to do with death. It's not physical death anyway. It's just an end of a phase. It symbolizes thing has to come to an end. Yeah. So maybe there's a situation that needs to end, you need to let go of, that needs to be wrapped up. Then the death card would also appear. It doesn't mean that someone's going to die, no. That's what it's about. Symbols, a set of, but you just have a more structured symbols in the set of cards. So it comes in a set of meanings and stuff. But it still goes back to the symbol. And funnily enough, sometimes when I pick the card, I know what the card is supposed to mean. But then I get this intuition that, okay, just look at the symbol and just go like way back. Thank you. Sometimes I can say, okay, this is about this and this, but sometimes like, wait, no, forget the meaning that you learned. Look at it from a different perspective, because you have to interpret what you see. Yeah. And what people don't realize is that they can do this on their own, and there are symbols around them all the time. I mean, yes, I use tarot, I use numbers, and Airty uses the planets and the sky, but we receive information all the time. Like, think about the dreams, they come in symbols too. I love the symbols. I absolutely agree with you. Thank you. It will be such a pleasure. I'll do my best. I agree. I agree. Thank you for having me. It was absolutely a pleasure for me to be here.